Sure. So we were saying yesterday, the conclusion was that a person needs to have in mind two things dealing with Parnassah, and the same would apply to other issues, but he's talking here primarily about Parnassah. And what are the two things? One thing is to remember that it's all from Hashem. It's Hashem's chesed. Hashem's chesed, which originates in Chassidus and evolves till eventually becomes chesed in this world. And the second thing is, even though it's all Hashem, nevertheless, we still need to do something in Derech HaTeva. And the reason is because Hashem's light and Hashem's energy has to be concealed in order for it to be transformed into Gashmizdika chesed, into Gashmizdika pleasure and Gashmizdika blessings of food and clothing and money and whatnot. And when I recognize that and I ask Hashem for that, then I'm making a vessel spiritually. Basically saying you need two vessels, two kelim. One is a keli, which is begashmius, that's the business that I do. And the other, the keli to merit the bracha, is my emunah, that I believe in Hashem. And I believe that it's all from Hashem. I want to mention a thing which is like an interesting example. And Rivka, I'm going to remind you that you're supposed to remind me my question yesterday. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'ata l'negro. We know that in the recent years, tremendous things have been discovered, invented that were never known before. Electricity, telephone, we have airplanes flying, and we know exactly how it happened. That there was a guy by the name of Graham Bell, and he's the one who invented the telephone. And they are the Wright brothers, and they invented the airplane. And Benjamin Franklin was the one who invented electricity. Not invented, he discovered electricity. We also know, and we speak about this a lot in the Sichos and Kles HaMashiach, that it says in the Zohar, this is one of the most amazing things that we in the Zohar that's very clear and obvious. Parshas Noach, Zohar says, when it says in the pasuk that when Noach was 500 years, there were floods in the world of water, and the flood came from two places. The windows of the heaven opened up, and rain came down, and the windows of the earth opened up, and water came up. And that's how the whole world became flooded. So the Zohar says that this is alluding to something that's going to happen in the future. Remember, the Zohar was written 1,800 years ago. What's going to happen in the future? There's going to be a time, and that's going to be in the year. That's what he writes. It'll be, it says 500. It'll be the year 5,000 and 500 and 600, because it says it'll be the 500th year of Noach. So in the 6th millennia, in the year 600, the floods of wisdom will open up. Means there will be new wisdom in the world, but the wisdom will come in two places. One, there will be wisdom that's heavenly wisdom, new wisdom in Torah, and the other will be earthly wisdom, new wisdom in worldly wisdom. That means it was already ordained by Hashem from the beginning, and it's already documented in the Zohar that in the 1800s, that's around that time, we're going to see the revolution, the scientific revolution, the industrial revolution, all the revolutions, which are basically these new things that happen. So what basically happened here? It's all been prepared before. It's been prepared before. But then there's a way in Derech HaTeva how Hashem made it happen. That there was a person who discovered electricity by doing what he did. And there's another person who discovered, it looks as if it was their discovery completely. And it was just because of their wisdom. They were so smart, they were so skilled. But the truth is, it's from Hashem. And it was meant to be revealed at that time. And this was just the camouflage, how Hashem made it. It should look as if it's coming from humans. So if a person gets an idea to do something in business, we look today, we see people who are billionaires, multi-billionaires, Amazon and the crazy Bill Gates, and they had brilliant ideas what to do in business. Really, it's Hashem gave them the idea, and Hashem enabled them. Sometimes people have ideas, but it doesn't go anywhere. So Hashem, number one, gave them the idea. Second of all, He enabled them to take this idea to fruition, and they became billionaires because Hashem wanted them to be billionaires. Why him and not someone else? Well, that's something only Hashem knows. We don't know that, but we know clearly that it's done in that it's in such a way. So, what was the thing that you asked me yesterday? If you could just repeat it, I forgot.
Why someone to give up on something in order to get something like to give up
The question was, why does he have to give up something?
No, it's like, like, let's say me, I need to choose what I want to daven about.
Oh, the question about davening, right? Okay, so basically, what Rivka is saying like this, we learned in this story with the Baal Shem Tov that a person came and he said that he has no children. But if you want children, you're gonna have to lose something else. That means when I'm davening and asking Hashem for something specific, I have to think, wait a second, who knows what I might lose because I'm davening?
What?
In other words, if I'm davening, let's say, for money, like this person, maybe I'm gonna lose a bracha in a different area.
Oh, okay.
If that's what it means. I think there's of course a situation here where there was a Baal Shem Tov and he knew what's going on in Mila, but for most of us, I think to daven to Hashem for our basic needs, which is health and happiness and Parnassah, and to have a home and to have clothing and to have our needs, that is a mitzvah in the Torah. And therefore, we can't say don't daven because maybe something's going to happen. We don't know the spiritual things. On the contrary, we have to assume that there are brachas waiting for me. I need to daven to make it happen. So this would be if a person, for example, wants to become wealthy. That's when you can say that. I want to become a millionaire. I'm not happy just to have a parnassah. And I'm going to daven every day, Hashem, make me a millionaire. Then I should think twice. Maybe by working so hard and davening so much to be a millionaire, could be I'm going to lose a bracha or something else. Maybe it's not worth it.
But the Rebbe said, like, he needs to ask for Hashem, like he said, Hashem. I'm confused.
I think there's a difference between asking or making this my, it's almost like banging on the door. Hashem, you must give me a shirut, must give me. When a person davens, I want to be healthy. Every single day is begging, Hashem, make me healthy, make me healthy. The idea that the Rebbe said, you're talking about a sicha in the year Tavshin and Beis, where the Rebbe said Yidden should ask for a shirut, and we see now such wealth amongst Yidden that we never saw this before to such an extent. So I think, obviously the Rebbe said so, it means the Rebbe sees that it's not going to take away. But let's say a person davens for wealth, and it didn't happen. And he keeps begging and pleading and davening and writing another zettel and going to the oil, I want to become wealthy. That's when you have to think twice. Maybe the fact that Hashem is not giving me this bracha, either it's not the time yet, or maybe Hashem wants me to have a different bracha, which is better for me than what I'm fighting for. So I think it's more about when I'm fighting for something and like not letting go, I have to know if I'm doing the right thing.
Also if it's healthy, to be healthy, גם אם זה בריאות.
No, b'riyut, a person is supposed to ask Hashem for b'riyut. Wealth is not something which is part of the basics. That's not. I know people that a pretty happy life without the wealth. Sometimes even happier. There was an article someone wrote. I saw this a few years ago, and he wrote in the article that he had a certain job, and he was very happy, and his family was very happy. Family, everything was fine, everything was good. And then he got a promotion at work, very big promotion. And he made, I don't remember, 4 or 5 times as much money as he made before. And he became very wealthy. And his wife used the money to help one of the children. So the other one of the children got very jealous. Why are you helping her? Why are you not helping me? So it became a little bit of a thing. And then another one of the children was upset. Then all the kids got upset. And there was big fights between the wife and the children and the husband. And then after a few years, his wife got sick. Then he believes for sure she got sick from all the aggravation. And after she got sick, the worst happened. And unfortunately, she passed away. And he said that I wish that Hashem never give me that blessing of a lot of money. So sometimes people are wishing and begging and pleading and they don't know what they're asking for. And I remember if I told you this story in class, but it was a chassid, it was a tzemach tzedek, that he was a wealthy chassid, and he had a brother that was not, and his brother very often would come to him for help, like there's a crisis now, he must pay these bills, and he would give him money. He was very generous. So one time he came to the tzemach tzedek, and he said, my brother's always coming to me when there's an emergency. I had an idea. Instead of him coming to me and begging me for money when there's an emergency, I will give him a big sum of money. I'll direct him how to invest the money into a business, and he'll become wealthy in his own right. And he won't have to beg me for money all the time, and he'll be in a good place. I'm asking the Rebbe for advice and a bracha, and that it's a good idea. The Rebbe Marash said, no, it's not a good idea. You can understand why not. We know that it's always better for people to have than to have to beg, but he didn't. A while goes by, and the brother again came to him for some emergency, and again he asked the Rebbe the same question. I think it was 2 or 3 times, and every time the Rebbe Marash told him it's not a good idea. One time there was another Rebbe, who was called the Velednika, very big tzaddik, also had Ruach HaKodesh, who was known for that, and he was passing by his town. So he said, you know what? This tzaddik is passing by my town. Let me ask him what he thinks. Which, by the way, is not the way a chassid usually operates, because a chassid is connected to his Rebbe, and he doesn't go to different Rebbes. He has his Rebbe, and through his Rebbe, that's his connection to Hashem. So normally he shouldn't have done that, but apparently he wasn't such a strong chassid. He told the Rebbe his story, and this Rebbe said to him, you know, it's actually a good idea that you should give him money, let him open a business, and he'll be wealthy and stand on his own 2 feet. He was very happy, and he did that. And guess what? It was really successful. He opened the business, he made a lot of money, and he became wealthy, not just Parnassah, he became wealthy. And this went on for a few years. But then one year, when he went on a business trip, this wagon driver realized that he goes on these trips and he makes a lot of money, and he's bringing back a lot of money, cash. And the wagon driver, who was, just a peasant, decided that he's going to kill him and steal all the money, and that's what he did. Had he not had all that money, he would have lived longer. So one Rebbe gave advice because he saw clearly that he's going to make a lot of money and be wealthy. It's like vision. The Rebbe Marash saw a little bit further down the line that as a result of that, a few years later, something else will happen. So therefore, when people ask Rebbe for bracha, sometimes, we don't understand anything, but sometimes people feel like the Rebbe doesn't care enough for me, or the Rebbe is not really answering me, and why am I worse than everybody else? But you don't know that could be the fact that you're not getting this bracha is actually your bracha.
But then, how do you not have like a fear when you ask for a bracha?
No, so the basic brachas we're supposed to be asking for, so we don't have any fear, because the instructions of Torah is that people should daven and ask Hashem every day for Parnassah, for Mashiach, for health, for children, and the children should be healthy, and they should be well, and they should have nachas from them. All this is fixed into our siddur. That means this is things we don't have to be afraid. We're supposed to daven. But I guess when people are starting to ask for sort of the extras, we have to know what we're asking for. Again, apparently even asking is okay, but I guess when a person is like being persistent, so to speak, with Hashem, and begging, and sometimes even thinking, oh, Hashem doesn't like me, or things like that. Look at our passion now with the others. How many years did Avraham and Sarah ask for children?
But they got children, eh?
Right. At what age? And she was 90 and he was 100. And they were dying with children. And Yitzchak and Rivka. also had no children. So they davened and davened and davened and davened. And it wasn't chas v'shalom that they didn't deserve it or there was being a punishment. There was a time when it had to happen. And when that time came, that's when it happened. Okay. So let's continue. So now let's look at page 168. It starts off like this. The following advice should be taken to heart by every person. This is 168. The Galachas Mitzera, Derech Mitzvasecha, Tzemach Tzedek, Hebrew English edition, page 168. Call Adam Acharon al Nafshe. This is the advice to be taken to heart by every person who's concerned with his soul and feels torn by this inner conflict regarding Gashmias. On one hand, he doesn't want to lose and decrease Hashem's bracha that he needs on Yom and Yom Kippur. He doesn't want all the bracha just to go to money and chas v'shalom lack brachas in other places. And he doesn't feel this drive that he must become wealthy. All he wants is l'malis nafshe ki yarav and nafshe basic. His desire is to be able to meet the needs of his soul, his household. Nobody should go hungry. Everybody should have what they need. Umabushim, they should have clothing. Dira, they should have a home where to live. All these things is what they need for their sustenance. That's what he's concerned about, and that's what he's asking for. Page 171. This is what a person should think. If he's not a person who has this drive for becoming a millionaire, Yakshev, let him make an account in his head. What do I need to live, to be comfortable? Hashem should give him his kindness, that he should have this hashpah from Hashem, which is the amount of money that I need for my family. And then he has to prepare a garment, a garment that's appropriate for this kind of bracha. For example, in Mitztarcho, he brings it down to the bottom line. If a person needs 500 ruble to live, this was Russia, so he's using ruble. He should find a business. Find a business somewhere that he could earn that sum of money in a normal situation, doing normal things. Investing 1,000 ruble or 1,500 ruble in the business, according to the ordinary percentage of income that comes through such a business, he'll be able to have what he needs, the amount of 500 ruble. If he prepares that kind of garment, which means he invests in the business that has the capability al pi teva to give him this profit, that's how he'll get his bracha. If he's not going to make the garment, the chesed won't come down here. He'll have a lot of good in the world to come, in the spiritual world, but not down here. Down here, and down here he won't have food because he didn't go to work. He didn't go to do the business that he needs to do. They actually be punished for this because it's neglect. He's not taking care of his family, or he's not taking care of himself. He's stealing from his own soul. They tell the story that there was once a group of people sitting in shul after davening, sitting around the table, and people that are not rushing, and they're having a discussion. And the discussion was about a sgula for Parnassah. A sgula means certain remedies, like if you say this chapter Tehillim, and you give 13 cents to tzedakah after 9 o'clock or after 20 o'clock, this and this is going to happen. So one guy said, I saw this gula, another guy said, I saw another gula, and the third guy saw up another gula, and they're all discussing what they found in hidden holy books. What's going to help a Parnassah? And the rabbi walks by and he hears the conversation. He says, Rabbi Isai, let me tell you something. All those gullahs work until 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, you go to work. So these gullahs are all up until 9 o'clock. That's what it means. They're a ruchnidik thing, but that's, but in order to have the Parnassah, the Gashmis, you got to pick yourself up and do the Gashmis that go work. On the other hand, yes, you have to make a vessel, but don't overdo it. Don't go into making a vessel more than what you need. Why does he need to make a bigger garment? If the amount of money that you need, which means the amount of chesed that's necessary here, is this amount, that this measured amount, that adds up to 500 ruble, then the vessel for that should also be on the same measurement. And if I invest more money in my business, I'm there day and night, and I don't have to do that. I'm making a vessel and a garment that's bigger than the chesed. He'll be working for no reason, wasting his time, wasting his energy. Being that the amount that he needs for his family and the bracha that Hashem is giving him could be brought down in a smaller garment, so this garment is really unnecessary. In other words, what happens like this, if a person puts a lot of time and energy in the business, more than they should, you know what that means? That means that I think it's the business that's bringing me the money. It's like a Rebbe once gave the mashal. It's like a person who creates a pocketbook to put his money in, a book, a purse to put the money in. And then they're going to say, let's make a bigger purse, so we'll have no more money. No, even a bigger purse, you're wasting your time. Making a bigger purse is not going to make you have more money. If you go out and work, you'll have more money. So making a bigger levush means adding and working more hours and investing more energy in the work. And many times people don't have time for their wife, for their children, for their own learning and their own davening. Everything is rushed because they have to run out to the business. What they're doing is they're making a garment that's much bigger than what they need. And the fact that they do that is an indication that somewhere, someplace in their head, they think that the garment brings the bracha, and therefore the more of the garment, the more Parnassah. It's like the story they tell with this guy in Chelm. You know what Chelm is? You heard about Chelm? No. Chelm is a city in Europe, in Poland. And for some reason, it got a reputation. I mean, we know the reason, because it was a guy who wrote a book. And it's all about how the people in Chesvan were the most foolish people in the world. And the whole book is about very, very... Guy has a good sense of humor, and it's all about foolish things that they did. I once heard, I actually met some people who came from that city, Chesvan. And he said, no, actually, people in Chesvan were very smart. This person was expelled from the city because he was a lowlife. And as a revenge, what he did was, he was a writer, he wrote a book, and it affected people that when they hear the word Chelm, right away they smile. Oh, Chelm. These are the clowns. But anyway, so one of the stories are that this guy was sent on a mission to find out what people do to put out fire. Years ago in a small shtetl, the houses were made out of wood, and they were near each other, and we didn't have the arrangement like we have today with fire engines. And therefore, when a fire broke out, there was a danger that everything would burn down. One house, the next house, half the town could burn down. Go to other towns to find out what they do. So he went to a certain town, another town, another town. Finally, he came one place, and when he came, he was there a few days, and a fire broke out. And he saw that somebody gets up on the roof with a big drum, and he's drumming and beating the drums and beating the drums. Why is he beating the drums? Because how did they put out a fire? There was a well. And somebody took water out of the well and they made a human chain, gave it to the next person, the next person, and then they got it to the fire. So that's how it reached the fire as fast as possible. He didn't see the chain. He just saw the beating of the drums. And it became very clear to him that, look, the fire started, and an hour later, the fire was out. He was beating the drums the whole time. So he realized this is it. And he went, took all the money they gave him, and he invested in buying drums. big drums and nice drums and drums that make a lot of noise. He came back to his city and he told them, listen, I found a remedy. You can even light a fire here and I'll show you in no time it'll be out. Of course, we know the results, that they're beating the drums and nothing's happening because the drums don't do anything. The drums are only there as an alarm that people should run and do what needs to be done. And that's how what we do with Gashmias is only a keli. And when people invest themselves in it, they're forgetting that the bracha is coming from someplace else. 172. This blessing could easily be invested in a smaller garment. When a person makes more garments, he doesn't gain anything, and not that he doesn't gain by making the purse bigger. This ruins it. It ruins the bracha. What would this be compared to? A person who gets a garment tailored for him, when the tailor makes a garment, the garment has to be according to the measurement and the size. A short person, it's short, and a tall person, it's tall. If the person is beis ames, 2 cubits high, he makes a garment that's twice as long. So he's going to explain, next page, page 175. Not only it does, we don't say, oh, it's okay, just a little bit extra material. The opposite is true. It causes that he should actually trip over it and fall, and he gets hurt. So that means that excessive involvement with the garment ruins the bracha. Only question is, what's excessive involvement? So really, it could be 2 things. Number one, it could be time, too much time spent on it, more than you need, too much emotional energy. Or what about people that if something goes wrong in business, they become distraught, they're upset, they can't sleep, they're beside themselves. You know why? Because they believe that everything is the keli. So it means I'm investing too much in the keli. Because Hashem is not limited to the keli, and Hashem is in charge. If it's meant for me to have the Parnassah, then these things are not going to make a difference. So if a person really gets a sort of depressed or angry or loses himself because of something that's going wrong with the keli, that means he's investing too much in the keli. Now, by now, we all forgot what the mimer is talking about. It's talking about hair of Metzorah and hair of Nazir. So here, H-E-R-E, is going back to connect it to the beginning of the mimer. That's what it means that sometimes the hair have to be cut off. So basically, let me just say the explanation, then we'll see the words. There are certain times where the hair has to be cut off, means excessive involvement in the concealment is too much involvement, and then goes the opposite. That was the whole idea. That hair of Sfiras HaMalchus, that's already something that can cause damage. What does it mean? That there has to be a garment, and the garment covers up the light, but if then you do too much concealment, then Klippa can get benefit from it. So translating that in practical terms, there has to be a garment, they have to go to work in order for the godly chesed to be hidden and concealed in nature, in order to be transformed to Gashmias. But too much investment in the garment is going to do the opposite, will make it that it's no longer a keli. And the reason is because if I'm investing so much in the keli, that means, in a sense, that I'm saying I don't believe that it's really Hashem, I believe it's the keli. There's a famous story with Rabbi Rashab, that there was a chassid at a big factory. They manufactured galoshes. Galoshes is what you wear on your shoes when it rains, made out of rubber. And he had a factory, a big factory, it was a big business. And he was a chassid. And then He was a chassid like all chassidim would come to the Rebbe every once in a while, and then for a year or two he didn't show up. When he finally came, the Rebbe said to him, "Haven't seen you for a long time. Where were you?" So he says, "My business got very good morning."
I'm not the last one.
Okay. Hey, so he said to him, "I see that you haven't been in for a long time. What's going on?" So he said, "My business was a lot of complications. I was very busy, and I just couldn't get away." So the Rebbe Rashab said to him, "I've seen people put their feet in galoshes, but to put their head in galoshes, that I haven't seen."
We have that phone,
Where?
like, after the mimer.
Oh, at the end. Okay.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
What page is that on?
there's no page number, but it's right after page 41, I guess it's 42.
Mm-hmm.
It's in between 41 and 42.
Okay. But this will be the big question. So how do we define what does it mean putting my head in galoshes?
Wait, where is it?
I'm looking. 42, you said?
Yeah, it's between page 41 and 42, which added it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so maybe everyone has it? Yeah, it's not the one that I have the only one of this.
It's 2 pages over from where we are now.
Yeah, I don't have it. Okay, so the question is, what's too much? And that's a little bit of a challenge to figure out what's too much investing in business, what's too much investing when it comes to, let's say, curing of a person who's not well, what's too much investing in shidduchim, what's too much investing in getting a house, an apartment, what is too much? Does it give an answer to that also?
It has rubber reaction. Well, and then it doesn't even matter. Investing too much head into the natural garment, and it's about to bending one's head, like bowing to an idol.
Equivalent to what?
Bowing to an idol.
Oh,
Doesn't-
investing too much in business is like bowing down to an idol, right? Yeah, what happened to this page? I don't have it. You all have this page? Okay, good. It's page 40, 41. I guess I can put it in later. Oh, so here's the answer to my question. Okay. That's what it's all about.
Oh, yeah.
Is there another copy of this one, the new ones? How come I got this one? It's in that booklet?
No.
That was made a copy of the wrong one. Okay, okay, you take this.
Oh, yeah, your answer is different.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can you repeat the, like, how the connection to making a big garment is equivalent to like wearing like,
So we explained before that here, but if it's coming from Ein Sof, it's a positive thing. And if it's coming from Malchus, that could be a negative thing. What was the explanation? When it comes from here, the Maila in the spiritual realm means excessive symptom, very strong symptom, right? Concealment. So if the concealment, a very strong concealment, is concealing an infinite light, it's a positive thing. Because there's no other way that we could receive an infinite light unless it goes through an extremely unusual and a very extraordinary tzimtzum. But if it's coming from a place that the light is already concealed, like Malchus, and then I go ahead and I add more of this excessive tzimtzum, that's too much concealment.
what do you mean that excessive symptom, like the milk comes down? Like
That the light of Malchus, the energy of Malchus comes down, but it goes through a process which is excessive tzimtzum, meaning more than just the ordinary concealment. Remember we said that here represents a part of the body that also has light in it, but it's so hidden and so concealed, it's as if it doesn't exist. In the sense that you cut it with a knife, you cut it with a scissor, and you don't feel any pain. There's no such other part of the body at all. That means it's concealed in a way where there's no parallel to it in the body. So tzimtzum of hair means a tzimtzum that's more extreme than any other kind of tzimtzum. And if that tzimtzum is used for something which is already concealed, then it's too much. So Parnassah has to come through tzimtzum. The tzimtzum is the physical business, the physical keli that I'm making. If I go ahead and invest too much into it, I put my head into it, that means, in that case, that I'm adding excessive concealment. And too much concealment is gonna be counterproductive. That's the point. So now my question was, what is too much concealment? So read what it says there. The first thing,
Investing too much time, investing too much thought and emotion, when it disturbs other spiritual and personal responsibilities, and when it leads to compromise and ministry in any way whatsoever.
so that's it. In other words, if a person, it's like you said over here, if this business requires to work 8 hours a day and I work 10 hours a day, this is excessive tzimtzum, too much. That's investing too much time. Too much energy means that a person's getting, like I said before, emotional and they're getting upset. This person did this person did that. Very often you find in business, especially, that it says that you see more hashgacha pratis in business. That, in other words, a person who's learning Torah all day, it's an amazing thing. But when you learn Torah all day, you don't see that much hashgacha pratis. If you're running a business, you're always seeing hashgacha pratis. Somebody just walked in, somebody just walked out, a customer came, I lost a customer, but then I gained. All sorts of interesting things happen in the business world where you can see, if you believe in Hashem, you see openly Hashem orchestrating things in my mind. So therefore, if a person does something, let's say he had a business deal with someone and the person at the end said, no, I don't want to do business with you. And you get all upset and you get all worked up and why did it happen to me? And later you find out that he did business with someone else and he was so scammed, he lost all his money. And he said, Baruch Hashem, thank you Hashem that you didn't let me do business with him. But had you thought of that then, you wouldn't be so upset. So why am I getting upset? Because I'm forgetting that Hashem is running the show, not the business. That's another example of too much energy, emotional energy in the business. And I'm taking it too much to heart, what is happening physically or not. I have to do what I have to do, but don't get so worked up about it. And of course, the other example is when it starts affecting, let's say a person's davening, and I can't concentrate on my davening because I'm thinking about my business. I just want to say this. Somebody told me that he was talking to somebody about Mashiach. This is a frum person. Talking about Mashiach. And the person says, stop it already with Mashiach. Like, be real, making like almost light of the whole thing of Mashiach. So he said, how could you talk like that? He said, I was davening. Shmon Esrei, we asked for Mashiach once and again and again. He said, no, the whole Shmon Esrei, it's all about asking Hashem for money. Shmakalenu is money, Rafaenu is money, and need money to be healed, they need money to run a business, they need money to this, everything is money. They actually tell this joke that once asked a very rich man, how did you become so rich? So he said, there's a word in davening, that if you think about money, when you say that word, you're guaranteed to become rich. So what's the word? Which word? So he said, the truth is, I don't know which word it is. So every word I said, I was thinking about money. I was not made to that kind of davening. But if a person is so involved in their business to the point that they can't concentrate on davening because of it, that's also excessive tzimtzum. We tell a story of a chassid that he never rushed in davening. He had business appointments, things. He always would say, I'm davening, this is my time now. Later I'll go and take a look what's happening. And tell a story that what's happened with him, that he had to do a very big business deal. He had to travel to another city. And he was waiting for the train. Train wasn't coming. So he decided, I'll daven mincha in the meantime. And of course, that usually happens. As soon as you start davening mincha, choo-choo, the train is coming. So normally what people do, you do a real quick one and you get on the train. And he said, I'm not going to budge. He davened slowly, and the train slowly moved away from the platform and he missed the train. Now he had to wait hours for the next train. Okay, he wasn't concerned, he wasn't worried. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, not. And as he was waiting, 2 or 3 hours later, the person is supposed to do business with gets up on the other side of the platform. What happened? He said, I saw you weren't coming. I figured you were backed out. I wanted to come to talk to you that you shouldn't give up. So not only did it lose, that guy came to him to do the business. So the English the once it's gonna happen. Yes, lady, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, so first begin in terms of work, like you have 8 hours of work and you're overworking your time and you're investing too much again, because you have about health or sugar. But how do you like who makes food is great, but you specifically to work 8 hours. Sometimes it's not that clear that you need to work 8 hours and you work 10. In your life, you making this time, like how to know your limit and not to go beyond.
No, so what he's saying is the example he gave here was a person knows I need X amount of money to support my family, but I'm working more hours, so I want to make more money. Or I'm afraid that if I don't work more hours, I won't be able to make this amount of money. So he's saying if you make a keli, that Api Teva, this keli will bring you 500 ruble a week or month or whatever you need, then you can trust that it's going to happen because it's coming from Hashem. So that's what it means. That's the calculation I have to make. How much do I need Api Teva to make this Parnassah? Yeah.
Like question is like if you're salaried and like no matter how many hours you work, you're going to be paid the same amount. How do you set limits on yourself of like, okay, I've been here for 8 hours. I didn't finish everything, but I can come back tomorrow versus like not stealing from your employer and like finishing your work. I never can balance.
No, I mean, if that's the kind of only way you can get the job is that you have to work 8 hours, then that's the only way you can get the job. But first of all, he's talking about business, so I make my own hours to a certain extent. But definitely, if I'm working for an employer and I have to follow the conditions that he gives me, so I should choose the kind of a job. If I have no choice because I can't find another kind of job, then these are my circumstances. I can't help it. It's true.
What if you decided, okay, now I know my limits, and back on to the, what if you like ambition?
So that's what we learned about. If you're ambitious, you want to have much more money.
But if it's like,
No, not always so helpful. I mean, we know people that do this, but very often, a lot of people later, years later, they say, I regret that I didn't. I had no time for my children, I had no time for my marriage, I had no time for my own learning, and it's a little bit late to go back on that. So not always, people, you see people making a lot of money and they're running and they're flying and they're always traveling. Wow, it sounds so amazing, but you don't know what kind of price they're paying. Okay, good Shabbos, everybody. Always, and do I teach you today again? Do we have Mashiach today? Yeah, today's Mashiach. So it's still a good Shabbos. I'll say it again. Yeah. I'm not going to take it back. Yeah.